When you see John Mayer on stage, it would be easy to assume that the Silver Sky he is playing is the exact same as one you could just walk into a store and buy. But is it actually? Today I'm going to give my insight and opinion as to why this might not be the case. So today's episode came about from prepping for my Last Train Home ballad review, and John posted to his Instagram right after that ballad aired, saying that the Silver Sky he's playing during the ballad is 100% stock exactly as you would unpack it. Now this sparked and kind of reignited the debate on, is the guitar that he plays on stage identical to the one you can just go in the store and buy? Like, is his current Mock Sand Silver Sky the same as mine? Well, today I'm going to talk about it, so let's get right into it. And my first bit of evidence here actually is going to take us all the way back to when John was with Fender as a Fender artist and his Fender Signature Strat, much like the one I have behind me. Whenever you see John playing his Fender Signature Stratocaster live, 95% of the time it was not a production model. It actually was a master-built version of that guitar. So it was master-built and had hand-wound pickups in it that were Big Dipper-esque, but they weren't production Big Dippers. They were hand-wound pickups from a master builder. Whether it was John Cruz or Chris Fleming, they aren't the same as a production run. Even though it still is a John Mayer Signature Strat, you can't compare the production version to a master-built version of that guitar. Now, right at this moment, I know what you guys are probably about to comment. Well, John designed the Silver Sky to be his instrument. He said himself he can walk into a store and buy one and use it on stage that night if he needed to.
I could land in any city that has a Guitar Center in it, walk in, I'm gonna have to buy it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to borrow it. Take it to wherever I need to be, and it's like the guitar that came out of my living room.
And yes, that is 100% true, and I'm not saying that he didn't design the guitar for a reason, but like I said, even with the Fender Masterbuilt, it still is a JM Signature Strat. It's just not the same as a production version of that guitar. There are so many instances of him playing prototype Silver Skies on stage. You have the Shadow prototype, you have the all-white one, even his Mock Sand Satin Nitro Proto, his #1 guitar for the 2019 World Tour. That guitar was a prototype. It was not a standard Silver Sky. And John has actually said that the best way for him to test out new features or tweaks to a guitar is for him to try it out on stage, and that really puts it through the test of whether or not he will like it or not. This then leads us into how we know the Silver Sky has evolved. John once posted way back on his Instagram a picture of pickups with the Silver Sky saying always pushing. And my friend Jack from Genesis Pickups actually deciphered that the writing you can kind of make out underneath there says new wire. Now we know, now in 2021, that those pickups that he was showing saying always pushing became the pickups for the 2021 Silver Skies. And he obviously had those pickups a lot longer than when he showed the picture of the Guard. He's not just going to have those pickups for a very short period of time and then be like, yeah, I think those are good enough, like put them through. He's going to put them through the test, and especially with him not having toured right immediately leading up to the Silver Sky being released, I'm willing to bet that those pickups were in guitars he used on stage during the 2019 World Tour. Now, my biggest kind of hunch here is that the pickups were probably in that Satin Nitro prototype Mock Sand Silver Sky, his #1 for that tour, which would pretty much mean that the guitar he played most of that tour was not stock. It had different pickups. Yes, we have those pickups now, but you couldn't get them at the time. And that kind of leads to where he posted when he was asked in a Q&A about the kind of the future of the Silver Sky. He said, well, we constantly have a running 3-year outlook on the guitar, which is huge. So him and Paul are thinking 3 years ahead constantly about the future of this guitar, whether it's tweaks, the sounds that you can get out of it, different neck shapes, whatever. They're constantly thinking 3 years ahead. So John would constantly be testing things 3 years ahead of time. Now, much like with John road testing new pickups that we eventually got in the Silver Sky, I'm sure the same thing happened with the tweaks to the neck of the Rosewood guitars, and it also happened with the J-Mod amplifier. It's a relatively little known thing that John actually tweaked and requested tweaks to the J-Mod kind of throughout its history since he's had it, and those tweaks eventually made it into the production run models of the J-Mod. Kind of as the tweaks happened, they eventually came out to ones that got shipped out from the factory. And it's the same thing with the Silver Sky. As John tweaks and as he's playing his guitars that have these new, whether it be pickups, again, neck shape, anything, finishes, they then will eventually make it to us. But the odds that you can currently go out and buy the exact same guitar that he's using as his predominant Silver Sky on stage, I would say is slim to none. Now this leads us all the way back to his initial comment saying, the Silver Sky he used in the Lost Train Home Ballad is 100% stock exactly as you would unpack it. Why would he make that comment and specifically single out the guitar used in that video as being 100% stock? If all the guitars he used were pretty much 100% stock, that would be kind of a moot point. So I think the only way to interpret that is he's signaling out that, hey, for this video and for this performance, this actual recording, it was a stock Silver Sky, exactly as you can go and buy it. Which means that most of the time, it's not. Now, Quincho, a member of our John Mayer Gear Lounge on Facebook, posted this meme you guys are going to see on screen, and I had quite a good chuckle as it pretty much sums out exactly how I think a lot of people felt, and as also a Star Wars fan, I just thought it was hilarious, but so true. And again, I'm not saying John doesn't play stock Silver Skies. We know he has when he's done demonstrations and the odd live show, or even for the odd time we see a different Silver Sky pop up on stage. I'm sure it's stock. But his number one guitars, whether being the number one guitar used during the 2019 World Tour, that Satin Nitro Proto Mock Sand Silver Sky, or the guitars we now know to be Saw Brock 1 and Saw Brock 2, the Roxy Pink and new Satin Mock Sand respectively, do I think those three guitars are 100% stock? No, I don't. I think something's probably going on, either with the electronics or the pickups or whatever it might be, that makes them not 100% what you could go into the store and buy. The last point I'll make here, although it's something that you really should expect, with John being the artist and the designer of the Silver Sky, is that if you look at the fretboards of all of his guitars, they are incredibly dark. Probably darker than almost any production run Silver Sky you can find, or at least tied with the darkest boards you can ever find. Now, of course, that's because he's John, and the guitars he requests, I'm sure they know he loves dark boards, and they're not going to send him anything that's less than the best and darkest rosewood they can find. Same thing with the necks. Maybe he has the choice of the kind of neck grain and if it has flame or not, because you do see the odd Silver Sky that has a flamed neck. He probably has the select choice of as well of all the wood and everything that goes into it. He gets the best of the best selection of the components and everything that go into that guitar, even though every Silver Sky that comes out of the factory is within a certain tolerance of they're all incredible parts. So in conclusion, fundamentally, yes, John is still playing a Silver Sky, but there are aspects of these guitars that I firmly believe make them not quite identical to what you can go out and buy. This 2021 Mock Sand Satin Silver Sky that I currently have, I bet is pretty damn close to what he used during the 2019 World Tour, his number one guitar, but might not be what he's using now. And I think that's the biggest takeaway here, is that a lot of those predominant number one Silver Skies he uses, you probably can get the equivalent of that a year out from when he's using it, or something like that, I think is the big takeaway from all I'm trying to say here. So you guys, please let me know in the comments down below if you, like me, subscribe to this theory, if you think something different. Let me know if you have a Silver Sky, what year you have, what you think of the differences between, especially the kind of 2020, 2021 compared to the original runs of the Silver Sky, or let me know anything that you guys think you would like to see with the Silver Sky coming out in the future. Would you like to see a HSS kind of Silver Sky or something different? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And until the next time, you guys, take care, and thank you so much for watching.